let's move on. So let's talk
Hopefully
about...
something a bit more cheerful.
Yeah, it is more cheerful. So this is the Trump-Nigel Farage interview. So Trump came over to the UK and gave his first interview to foreign media from outside the US, I think, since he lost his election. I think that's how I have to phrase this, so let's put it that way. And we have the interview itself. So the interview was really good. I quite enjoyed it. I didn't know where it was going to go, but there are, of course, things we can't talk about because YouTube. And so you can see Nigel interviewed him for about, I think it was about 30 minutes interspersed with other interviews here, so it comes out like 2 hours. So I thought we'd cut it down and just go to the best bits.
I also, I'm sorry to cut you off there, but I also like how it's Nigel Farage doing like one of the first foreign press interviews with Trump for a very long time as well. So it really goes to show that Trump really approves of his politics, and it's good to see that there's that recognition.
There's a bit of bromance there. That's quite cute. There's
a bit of a parallel, I think, because they're both demonised by the press to a ridiculous degree, weren't they?
Yeah, globalists hate them with one easy trick. So, anyway, so the first clip we're going to play is about the Majesty, her Queen herself. Let's go.
You also got on well with the Queen. You really enjoyed it. You really enjoyed that.
I think she's a fantastic woman. She is a fantastic woman. I was supposed to spend like a half an hour with her. I ended up being there for much more than an hour, and everyone said, "Oh, that's so rude." But I said, "No, but she liked it, and I liked it. I'm not going to be rude." And we had a great time together. We then had an evening, the likes of which you rarely would see. And I think she was laughing and smiling. We got along great. We talked the whole night. She is a great, wonderful woman.
Yeah, well, she's been there nearly 70 years now on the throne.
Yeah,
it's incredible. And she's still head of state in Canada, Australia. I mean, it's unbelievable.
And respected by everyone.
Yeah.
And no scandal, no anything. Think of it. She's done this for more than 70 years. And she's never had scandal about herself.
No.
No scandal, no anything. She's an incredible woman.
I love the Chiron there as well. Trump, the Queen is a great, wonderful woman. It's great. Anyway, but here we go. So that's the setup for them talking about the royal family, because, of course, the big thing that I think was most interesting was, of course, talking about... so you've got Her Majesty the Queen, a paragon of virtue, and has worked well for us as our monarch. I mean, this kingdom has been blessed with someone like that, frankly.
I do appreciate that she's, kept out of politics as much as possible. She did mention something about the COP26 climate summit, saying that they need to do something to save the children, but...
That was caught off a mic that shouldn't have been.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
But anyway, that's the point. It's like, Trump was 6 when she came to the throne. I mean, this is the stability she was able to bring to this country and has, and I don't think we'll ever get one as good as her again. I mean, some other facts in here I just have to mention. I mean, like, David Cameron, Theresa May, and Boris Johnson were not born when she came to the throne. I mean, this is the level of expertise and grace she has carried herself through so many years, to the point that everyone just loves her. I mean, there is not a mass movement of disliking her, and she is just a paragon of what it is to be queen.
Even amongst people who are kind of Republican in disposition,
yeah, you can
they appreciate the Queen still. They might be like, well, I'm not too sure about the others, but at least the Queen's good.
Yeah, she has given this United Kingdom such stability that we could not ask for. And then you have to compare her to Meghan Merkel, or how are you saying? Anyway, so this scum of a human being who decided that, no, I'm not going to try and defend the monarchy or stability or this United Kingdom, which it gives its stability to. No, I want to destabilize the United Kingdom, and has done her best to do so. So we can see the response Trump had to her getting Mexited, as Nigel said, to the United States, and is now trying to poison that country. Let's play.
Somebody you may not think is quite as wonderful is a recent British export to America. And I think we're kind of quite pleased to have got rid of him, really, is Prince Harry, of course.
Yeah.
And Meghan living over here, being not only disobliging about you at every given opportunity, but actually the entirety of the Conservative movement. And now we hear that she's ringing up senators, ringing up members of Congress, lobbying for law changes, and doing some of this on headed paper that says the Duchess of Sussex. And we saw the Oprah Winfrey interview, and it turned out later a lot of what she said simply just wasn't true.
Yeah.
Should she go into American politics?
I'm not a fan of hers. I wasn't from day one. I think Harry has been used horribly. I think someday he will regret it. You know, a lot of people are saying I'm very good at the prediction business. I think someday he will regret it. He probably does already. But I'm not a fan of hers at all. And I think she's very disrespectful to the Queen that we just spoke about, who's such a great woman, who's such a great person. historic person. I think she's very disrespectful to the royal family, but maybe most importantly to the Queen. And I just, from day one, I never got it. I never got it. I see her, I listen to her. She's trying to do things that I think are inappropriate, very inappropriate. But I think Harry's been used and been used terribly. It's ruined his relationship with his family.
Completely.
And it's really, really, I think it hurts the Queen.
Yeah, and you can't use a royal title and get involved
Well,
in
I didn't know
American
she was doing
affairs.
that, but
well,
certainly
no, she has been doing it.
It's not appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, Trump right on the money there.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have put it better myself. And I've remembered something, actually. I'm not sure whether it's true or just a misconception, but I know that there was an informal rule within the royal family that you can marry whoever you want as long as they're not American, which I thought was interesting.
It should be made formal, in my opinion. But for people who might not know, I mean, the attitude in this country around that scum of a woman is essentially that she's despised because, well, she was attacking this country through the medium of the monarchy, the crown, and the Queen. I mean, the attacking of the Queen, trying to smear them and throw mud at them the whole time because she's having a hissy fit because she can't go into politics. That's what you signed up for, not going into politics. And the fact that she tried to do that here, disgraced herself, tried to destabilize the country by doing so. You're not allowed to do it because the fact that the monarchy doesn't is what gives this country the stability that it grants us. And instead was trying to destabilize the country. Horrible. Right that she's being kicked out, essentially, and deported to the United States is, one fate. Not worse than death, but, one of them. And so she's out there. But then, not content with trying to poison this country, the fact that she then tries to go into politics in America. I mean, the gall of this individual to do such a thing. And we have the story here because they referenced it, so I thought I'd fact check them. And this is from the Australian news. And they say Meghan Markle uses Duchess of Sussex title whilst lobbying for paid leave. So this is her going to senators, senator after senator. There's some campaign for paid leave to become a thing or to be extended in the US. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what it is. You're not allowed. I mean, you're not allowed in Britain as a monarch or a member of the royal family to then take a royal title to the United States of America. The country, the whole purpose of it is to revolt against the crown and then to lobby there in their political system for political change or whatever. I mean, I can't think of anything more absurd just on the face of it.
This could all be solved with one thing. Get Prince Harry to take a paternity test and it'll all...
I wish. Quite frankly, he's just divorce her and come back or just do something else with
your
life,
mate.
Go back to
flying Apaches in the Middle East again. He was cool when he did that.
Yeah, I mean, I love how Trump's picked up on the obvious power dynamics between those two. And he's just like, well, I bet he regrets it.
She definitely wears the pants, doesn't she?
I bet he regrets it as well.
Yes.
Because quite frankly, it's destroyed his relationship. She doesn't care. I don't think she's ever shedded a tear for that. I mean, it certainly doesn't look like it. And the fact that she would be so brazen to get into politics in the UK, get kicked out for it, and then go to the US and be like, I'll just carry on using the royal title and lobby for change here.
Wasn't it also rumoured that she was thinking about running for the presidency at some point as well?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, she looks like an actual lunatic. Like a full-on psychopath.
I mean, I'm going to be an armchair psychologist here and say that there's something going on there. I mean, I'm not going to say anything specifically because...
well, you're the one with the qualifications, so...
I mean, I'm not a clinical psychologist. They're the ones with the qualifications, but I don't know. I get that funny impression, but I'm not going to say anything else because I don't want a lawsuit, thanks.
All right, but the details in here just to get them buttoned down. So they say Meghan has been calling US senators to lobby them on the issue of paid maternity leave only weeks after she wrote an open letter to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi on the subject and using the title, I've forgotten her title now because it's
Duchess
not...
of Sussex.
Who really cares? She doesn't really have it, does she? It's just Megan over there. Not anything to do with the royals, and quite frankly should have lost the title in formality. So they say in here that as a senator, Shelley Moreau Capitino, or Capitu, I don't know, a Republican from West Virginia, told the website Politico, quote, I was in my car, I'm driving, and it says caller ID blocked. And she goes, Senator Capitino? I say, yes. She says, this is Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. And then the senator goes on to talk about how inappropriate and weird it was that she decided to say Duchess of Sussex because you don't deserve that title. It means nothing to the Yankees, because why would it?
I don't think many Americans know where Sussex is.
No, but I don't know how to get across to an American how disgusting it is of someone in the royal family to use their royal title, even if they were a proper royal and not some scumbag Yankee changeling, to then use that to lobby for political change.
Well,
especially in public.
One of the foundational cornerstones of our constitutional arrangement with the monarchy is that they remain impartial to politics and allow politics to go on without their influence, and they serve their role independently, and they don't use their titles and influence to influence politics because it would be undemocratic.
Yeah, and whenever there is a slip up, usually the Queen has said something, she's expressed an opinion, and it's caught on tape by accident or a hot mic or something like that, because she's a dutiful person. Prince Charles, not so much, and will go out there and do these things.
The
and
Black Spider memos is a great example where he was writing letters to ministers, trying to influence them on environmental policy, I think it was.
But as soon as it's found out, it is rightly condemned by everyone on every political side. It's just like, what the hell are you doing?
I think
it's not allowed.
It's one of the few things that can actually unify people in this country is when a royal steps out of line, you're like, no.
Yes, and this is one of them. I mean, again, my scorn is not unjust or unreasonable, I don't think. And
no, definitely not.
It is actually disgusting. So, very good on Trump to stand by us in that regard.
To put things into context, if you're not from the UK, this kind of principle of our constitution is like someone threatening the First or Second Amendment, like the foundational amendments to this is them
trying to take our guns.
Yes, this is our equivalent.
I wish we had the guns. Anyway, so the point here as well being that Trump is not just siding with the right or something like that, as some people might view it, but no, he is siding with Britain itself, because the Queen and the Crown are the embodiment of the country. And as I said, everyone condemns any kind of interference in politics, and her doing this in the United States is even more weird. Anyway, so that's enough of the royal stuff. Just want to say Meghan is scum. She is. Well, I thought we'd get on to the other things Trump had to say, because they're also interesting. So he's had some thoughts on the elections, and I think we have to report this as Trump just says, we had a great election, and nothing else. Let's play the clip.
We had a great election. We ended up, it was a election, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm going to cut it there. We can't play what Donald Trump had to say on the election, because, of course, and you might think, well, why did you bother putting it in? Because I don't think this censorship should ever be forgotten. The fact that they can have this chat on daytime TV because it's Ofcom regulated, but on social media, all of this discussion of what he has in his head about the election is just banned. We can't talk about it. We can't even play him saying what he thinks.
Yeah, it's also very different because in the UK, this could be talked about on television relatively fine, right? But as soon as it gets online, because it's a US-controlled thing, the dynamic completely shifts. And it's very strange that...
Well, it's not a US-controlled thing. It's a Silicon Valley-controlled thing.
Well, yes.
And they're all Democrats. Mm-hmm. And just the fact that power dynamic exists in the West, until it is gone, free world my ass. Anyway, so I thought we'd move on from that because we can't talk about it. We're going to have to talk about BLM instead, which I thought was funny. So let's play this next clip.
The Black Lives Matter movement, which is now becoming increasingly, I think, political, don't you?
It's shocking that it started off, with pigs in a blanket, right? You know that, right?
Yeah.
You know the expression, fry them like bacon. And that was about our police, our great police. And all of a sudden this becomes mainstream? I don't really think so.
So they're not just about racial equality then?
Well, I think they're about politics, but I think they're about a lot of other things. If you go back to their original founding and what they were saying, kill the police. What they're saying is kill the police.
I know.
And that becomes mainstream? Not good.
Sorry, I'm laughing at that. Not good. It's just, I miss him. Anyway, but also it's obvious, pigs in a blanket, fry 'em like bacon. This was being chanted originally in 2016 when BLM blew up, and then it devolved into the Dallas shooting, in which a BLM supporter went out and shot police. Shook.
Yeah, the rhetoric led to someone actually being killed, right?
Yeah, so the fact that they came back in 2020, and you can see a little bit of skittishness in Nigel Farage there, in which, I don't know if it's just because he's interviewing, but you're saying, oh, they're not just about racial equality, are they? And Nigel knows. There is no way Nigel doesn't know the bunch of commies and racial socialists. But still, there's this weird skittishness of just not really wanting to condemn them fully in the British context.
Well, I think he's very cognizant of how the press operate, isn't he? So he doesn't want to say anything that could be cut out of context.
But that's really a bad argument. It's like saying we don't want to criticize the Chinese because, the press might say you're a China hater, you're racist. It's like, well, they are doing genocide, so I don't really care.
It's not me arguing for it.
I know, but I'm disappointed in the British context. Not just Nigel, I'm not having a go at him, but it's more the entire narrative in this country from elements of the right and, of course, the press in general, is that we'll have tiptoeing around this, whereas you can see Trump, don't waste the time. No, these people have killed cops. They instituted mass riots across the country that led to people like David Dorn being killed and many, many others. No, they don't give them the time of day.
I'm still amazed that they're not designated as domestic terrorists because they function as one. Like, in
how many more
2020,
bodies do you need?
Yeah, they burnt America to the ground and were responsible for killing. I don't know how many people it is now. I've lost track.
I think it was dozens in the riots, and I think it was 6 cops in Dallas. So it's like fantastic. And I'm sure the other chap, the guy who drove the car into a bunch of kids. I mean, we saw his Facebook post, but whatever. Anyway, so let's move on to the Biden administration regime getting rid of the Winston Churchill bust, which is quite an interesting story. This obviously relates to Britain. Let's play this one.
Churchill's statue defaced and all of these things.
Well, you saw Churchill's beautiful bust being removed from the White House. When I got there, I said, send it back. They called, would you like to have the bust of Winston Churchill, a great one, right?
Yep.
Even you would say that,
Yeah,
Nigel.
absolutely.
And I said, I absolutely want it. Explain. And as you know, President Obama, I believe, sent it back. He didn't want it. And I said, let's bring it back.
No, well, Joe Biden got rid of it on the first day. Which
did he? Oh,
yeah.
no.
Which is why, of
Not
course,
surprised.
there's been no advancement with trade deals and all the rest of it.
Why would you do that with Winston Churchill and you're trying to get along with your country and you send, it's such a token, but such an important token. No, I had it back for my entire time.
I mean, absolutely right. But I just want to get the history in there and why this is obviously important to us.
I think Mitch McConnell did a terrible job.
Where
This guy's
is
talking
America
about
in
$600 giving during
Don't know
this
what's going on
troubled
here.
time,
Right.
giving, and they're
haunted
talking
by
about
ghosts of Trump.
$2,000.
That's the YouTube autoplay. Right. we'll cut that out for the clip. Sorry about that. But anyway, the point being that the Bush administration had Winston Churchill's bust, and then Obama moved in and decided to move it upstairs. He didn't want it in the Oval Office, which, weird, okay. He wanted MLK's bust there instead, apparently. And then when Trump got in, he was like, no, this has been here for a long time. It's like LBJ got it originally. And it signifies our special relationship with Britain. Let's have it in there, put it back in, had it the whole time. And then first day Biden moves in, throws it out.
Well, he always goes on about how he's Irish, right? So he hates the English by kind of genetic predisposition, apparently.
Yeah. But just from a geopolitical standpoint, I mean, which side of the American debate are the Brits to side with? And if we have one guy in the American political systems on our side, I mean, just consistently, it is Trump. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
endlessly,
absolutely.
he's making the signals that he wants to work with us, the signals that he actually likes us as well. Whereas you have Biden over there who's like, I'm Irish.
I haven't heard Joe Biden give such glowing praise towards the Queen.
No.
I'd love to hear him have to spit it out, though.
Churchill's beautiful bust, says Trump. Anyway, so let's go for the next clip, which is just where is America now in the world? And speaks for itself, doesn't it? So let's play.
World right now.
I think it's at the lowest point it's ever been at. I don't think it's ever been in a position like this. We're not respected anymore. I will tell you, there were no planes flying over Taiwan. And the name wasn't even mentioned. You didn't talk about Taiwan when I was president. It wasn't going to happen, what they're doing now. And they'll wait till after the Olympics, I assume, and perhaps something will happen. But it's not good if you're there and you have bombers flying over your country constantly, which is constant. With Russia, we had no problem. I had no problem with, you didn't mention North Korea, Kim Jong-un.
No, when you cross the line and you
I got along with him great. I got along with him almost as well as they
Little
get along
Rocket
with
Man, you called him.
I did. But then we became very friendly, like you, sort of like you.
He forgave you.
But you know, the truth, we didn't have a problem, and now you've got a problem with them too. You didn't mention that one, and
Yeah.
honestly, that's a big problem because he does have serious nuclear power, and many other things. If you take a look at energy independence, we're energy independent, first time ever, and now we are going and begging for oil. We're going back begging for oil. We go to Saudi Arabia, we go to Russia, OPEC. We go and say, please give us oil. We had so much oil, we didn't know what to do with it. A gallon of gasoline was $1.87 when I left. Now it's going to be $7.50 in California.
I mean, it's kind of depressing. You can kind of hear his voice getting more depressed as he lays it out as well, because it is just so tangible.
It's the destruction of his legacy in office, in a way. So you can understand he worked so hard to get the country in order, and then someone comes in and messes it up to the level of Biden. I mean,
But it's just so tangible. That's the thing as well in my mind, where it's you have people always talk about, oh, everything's bad now. Yeah, but he can actually point to the things. I mean, like with the Afghan evacuation being so bungled because Biden changed the date and then didn't do the planning, and then the whole thing collapsed. Well, whose fault is that? And then you have the oil reduction. I mean, remember the first day Biden got in, executive order, no oil pipeline, oil reduction here, no more oil wells over here. And then, well, okay, we're not producing the oil we need. Price go up. What did you think was going to happen? You absolute moron. And now he's going back to the old situation of begging the Saudis for it.
The fact that there was oil companies were actually paying people to take barrels, and now it's gone to the point where, there's...
You couldn't have had a better market with shale being what it is, but whatever. He's, absolutely destroyed that. But then also the no strength whatsoever in his character or in his global presence.
I think Trump's strongest policy area was his foreign policy. He did really well in what he did.
We're the big boy in this neighborhood, and we're going to put anyone who steps out of line in their place. Mm-hmm. That's the role of the hegemon. And the fact that the Biden administration are like, oh no, international agreements, we'll have a chat. Like, why do you think there are bombers?
Going to pay money to Afghanistan.
Yeah, well,
who on earth would do that?
Gender programs. Anyway, we're running out of time, so we'll end with the last clip, which is about him running for 2024.
If you love the country, you have no choice. It's not a question. It's just, this is a wonderful, beautiful life. But I like that too because I was helping people. That's why I did it. And I think you'll be happy in the future too, because that'll be your next question, but you'll be happy in the future.
Well, I know you can't answer that question because it would start the campaign clock ticking. Right. But we've got the midterms coming up in less than a year. Are you going to be out on the campaign trail?
Yes, I will. I'll be helping a lot of people. We've been endorsing candidates. I'm 152-2. My endorsement, 152 wins and 2 losses. Okay. And those 2 losses were actually by people that were, the people that won were more Trump than I was, okay? So they won. But what happened is, what's happening is everybody, once the endorsements become very important, the most important and the most powerful endorsement that our country has seen. And so I have an obligation to make sure the right people get in. And we have many, many people online. Actually, when I leave here, right now, I've got 4 candidates that want an endorsement. It's a very important job because we're going to have I think we're going to have a very big 22, and I think we're going to have an even bigger 24.
So that's the end of his statement on that. He can't officially say he's running for office because apparently legal things or whatever. And but, I mean, read between the lines.
I mean, the fact he didn't say no is enough, really, isn't it?
We're going to have a great 2024. And DeSantis is running for governor again. He's not running for president. So who's it going to be?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know who else it could possibly be. Maybe Ted Cruz, but other than that, I think Trump.
You got to think if you're the Dems on that side of the aisle, though, just give him the 4 years already, frankly. Like, what are you going to do, run Biden again?
There's no way. I mean...
Who else are they going to run? I mean, there is no one. They've got no talent. They don't garner any talent whatsoever. I mean, when Trump goes, they've got heaps of people they can put in charge.
They're going to run AOC.
Leaders of the movement. You got AOC over there and Bernie Sanders. Good luck. If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast The Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site.
We've got loads on there, and it's all really, really good. For example, we have regular premium articles that discuss contemporary events, and we have an audio track for our silver and gold tier members. And of course, we have our regular series on there. We've got Contemplations, which is Josh and whoever he wants to have talk to him about a particular topic. On this one, he's talking about Bo, about in-group preference. Moving on. Bo and myself also do the Epoch series, which says talking about history. This one's Belisarius Part 3, because Belisarius was a 6th century Byzantine general, and he had an amazing career and a genuinely tragic end. And the myth of him is old blind Belisarius begging on the streets of Rome would have been better than what happened to him, but I won't spoil it. I'll let you figure out. I'll let you find out. And of course, we do our regular book club as well this week's or this month's. I don't know how often we do them actually. Fairly regularly. It takes a while to read a book. But this is Callum doing John Stuart Mill's On Liberty, in which I rail against utilitarianism. I used to be a huge fan of John Stuart Mill, like 5-10 years ago. And since then, I've really soured on utilitarianism. And so the framing of his arguments, I find kind of insufferable. He's not wrong in what he's arguing for, but it's the way he's doing it. But anyway, we also do a bunch of premium podcasts, things that are entertaining, we think, like the politics of Star Trek that I did with John, talking about, well, is Star Trek a socialist paradise or not? It turns out it's not, but it's, it's something different. post-scarcity liberalism, basically. But that's a really good podcast. And we also have to put up things on the website that we can't actually put on YouTube because YouTube has editorial policies about things such as where all these heart attacks are coming from. Giant elephant in the room. It's probably climate change. Don't worry about it. We also have fascinating interviews from really interesting people, such as this one, which is an activist called Luke Avery, who's a Christian, but don't worry, he's not Bible thumping in this. What he's doing is talking about the ancient wisdom in the biblical book of Proverbs, and it's very much daddish sort of stuff, and I really enjoyed doing this one. And I think I'll have him back in, hopefully, to do another one, Ecclesiastes or something, and hopefully we'll do another one soon.
And if you want to keep up with us, you can follow us on getter.com. I love the phrase and getter doing, something like that. I don't know.
You're doing really well on there, though, aren't you? You've got like 11,000 followers.
So come follow me on Getter, come follow you on Getter.
Yeah.
And
lotuses.com on Getter.
Lotuses_com on there. Let's go check that out. And also the conference itself. So this is a conference being put on by the Getter guys. This is on the December the 8th. So update on this, the Getter conference has been postponed until further notice. We will let people know as soon as we have more information. Apparently it was postponed thanks to the global freakout in response to the Omicron variant. So sorry about that. So if you'd like to get access to all that premium content, you can subscribe at lotuseaters.com. Thank you and goodbye.